Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk. Just a quick little vid just to say my new compact flash to 2.5-inch IDE adapter has arrived. So shall we see if we can get the Amiga to actually boot up from a hard drive finally. Well, I'll say I had it working and then the adapter failed. So I've got a new adapter. I bought 2 of these. I thought I bought 3, but then they must have had a stock issue because they refunded me for one of them and only delivered 2. It was a bit annoying because they're actually quite nice for what they cost. Just a very basic single compact flash to 2.5-inch IDE. They were just over £4 each, I think. They were really cheap. But it should do the job. It should do the job nicely. Whether we'll have to do that little modification to get the hard drive light working correctly or not, I'm not sure. But hopefully this should work. So we better get inside the 600. I still haven't screwed it back together. I'll pop it out. In fact, I better put some anti-static on, seeing we're going inside this thing. So I'll stick my strap on. Right. Disconnect the LEDs for the keyboard. I'm hoping I don't have to actually disconnect the keyboard. I'm hoping I can just, if we're careful, move it out of the way, hinge it up, and just prop that up. Yeah, I think we can get away with doing it like that. Right, so what I need to do is get rid of the old adapter there. I want the card out of it. I'll take the card out. Now the only problem I think I'm going to have is the old adapter is a little larger than the new. Well, actually, it's considerably larger than the new one. That's the old adapter. That's faulty. Because it's about the size. Oh, it is the size of a 2.5-inch like laptop style hard drive. Now, hopefully, what I used double-sided tape to stick it down, but so it didn't short out or anything. I actually put it on some wooden standoff. So I'm hoping if I can get this off again, I can stick the new one basically in its place, and it'll use the same wooden standoffs. Can even move it a bit further down here so we can use a bit more of the IDE cable, because it is a little bit long the way it sits. Anyway, let's see if this will just prise off. It's pretty strong, this double-sided that I used. It is quite a good one. It's what you use to stick trim on cars with. There we go. I could have probably helped that a bit with a hairdryer or something, but it's come off the wood actually that I use. It's not come off the thing, so hopefully we've got some more tape about. I'll put a little bit more tape on there and see if we can stick the new one down in place. I think it's going to have to. I want it to sit flat. Ideally, that's rather annoying. There's some pins for the master-slave jumpers there. I wonder if I can even screw it in place. No, because that wouldn't leave me enough room to get the IDE cable on. I think it'll stick down there all right with a bit of tape. We'll see if I've got some double-sided. I'll put a bit of double-sided on each side and see if we can just stick it in place. Yes, I've got some here. Have I got any scissors up here? Yeah, got them. This is the stuff. It is ridiculously sticky double-sided tape. Let's cut a couple of pieces of this. We don't need very much, I don't think. Oops, drop that. A couple of bits of double-sided here. I'll stick a bit on there. And stick a stick a bit on there like that. Hopefully this should be enough. Alright, let's have a look. Just peel it off. There we go. Look at this side. There we are. Right, so we've got some sticky on there. So we can stick this down. I will have to leave that sticking over the edge, I think, because otherwise I'm not going to get the IDE cable in properly. Right, just press it down a bit, make sure it's stuck. There we go. And put this back in place. There we are. Right, so we can hook the IDE onto it. I haven't been able to get it that much further over really, but it still works. Oh, hang on, that's wrong. I think my big head's probably getting in the way of the shot there, isn't it? Right, there we go. So we're plugged in. We've got that back in position. Let's stick the. Like I said, I've already done this card. If you look back in my videos, I do explain what software I use to prepare it and everything. Right, so stick that in there. And hopefully that should work. We should now have a working hard drive in this 600. I'll get the keyboard LEDs plugged back in, and we can know whether the hard drive light's going to work or not. I'm still not sure whether we're going to have a fully functioning hard drive light yet. Sometimes you have to do a modification and put a resistor in one of the IDE lines to get it to work properly. I think it's a pull down it needs somewhere. Right, so we won't screw it together properly yet because obviously we don't know whether it's fully working yet. Let's get the joystick out of the way. And we've got the mouse. I've had to do a bit of shifting round here because I wanted one of my Macs set up. And I didn't have enough room to have that big monitor I was using with my Amiga and the Mac set up at the same time, so I've had to resort to a slightly smaller monitor. I do need to do some work on it as well because it's got an issue. I'll show you when I get up on screen. Oops. See if I can get you up. I'm using this Sony. I think I might have to just knock that might be too dark. Let's have a look. You got the light coming in from the other side. I'll have to switch the monitor on. And see if this is bright enough for you to see on the screen. Right, that's channel 1. Move that across to AV1. That's AV1. Switch the Amiga on. Alright, moment of truth. Oh, that doesn't sound healthy. Oh, I don't know what that was. And it was not booted. Let's just try that again. Got a flash from the hard drive light there, but oh, that's not good, is it? Let's just switch off and have another look inside. Don't say these cards aren't going to work properly either. Get that off again. Let's have a look. Lift the Amiga up again. Oh, hang on. Is that? Perhaps I didn't have the card. Let's just tilt you down a little bit. I wonder if I didn't have the card quite fully pressed home in the adapter. Then let's just try pushing the. It just doesn't seem to want to go in on that side for some reason fully. Is that pin bent? I've got a bent pin on the SD adapter, that's why. Oh, well, this is a brand new this is a brand new adapter as well. I hadn't noticed that. Hopefully we can straighten. I mean, I do have another one, but let me put some more light back on. Hopefully we can straighten it. The first pin on that side there seems to be bent. I'll put my glasses on so I can see a bit better. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to straighten it out. That'd explain why it wasn't working. Yeah, first pin there is bent. I wonder if I can get my tweezers under it. Oh, what's a bugger? What's a bugger indeed? Let's see if I can zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Oops, that's the wrong way. I always do that. Try and get you down a little bit more. Yes, so that first pin on the SD card adapter there, it seems to be bent down. I'm just wondering whether I can just get that underneath it and then possibly use something just to straighten it. Let's try that. There we go. Hopefully that'll work. Let's try and get the card back in. That's a bit annoying with this being a new... There we go. That seems to have gone in this time. That's a bit annoying with that being a brand new adapter. I don't think I was being like super rough with it or anything. Right, shall we try that again? I'll zoom you back out. Right. Oh, hang on, I've got to reconnect that. There we go. Right. Shall we try that again then? I'll get you back up onto the screen. Oops, here we go. There you go. I'll probably better turning the light off again, aren't I, so you can perhaps see the screen a little bit better. Right, let's try that again. Let's one flash of the hard drive light. No, it refuses to boot. Well, that's a bugger. I'm putting the right card in, aren't I? Yeah, because it's the one that I wrote 600 on the back. That's, what could be wrong then? What could be wrong? Well, all looks connected, right? Pin 1 to pin 1 on the adapter. No other pins are bent or broke, are there, or anything? No, that looks absolutely fine now. Apart from, obviously that pin isn't as straight as it used to be, but it's certainly, you know, it's going home okay, it's fitting. The card's in and everything. Let's just try it one more time. I'll try it with the top up. No, that's not looking like it's, because it would have booted into Workbench, I think, by then. Well, what on earth is going wrong here then? Let's try just reseating that IDE connector, just in case we had a bad connection there. I don't think we do. Try it again. We've got a flash off the adapter there, so it must be connecting to it. And again, no. So what on earth is going on here? Yeah, it's definitely the A600 compact flash that I'd done already. That, I do hope that that pin shorting out hasn't done any damage to the compact flash card. Let's have a look. No, we're just getting one flash off it and that's it. It's not even attempting to boot off it. How bizarre. I tell you what, I'll just try just as a quick experiment. I've got the other brand new adapter. That's what it could be, that these adapters just aren't going to work, but I thought they should do. The other one here. Let's have a quick look. So it's exactly the same. Just took it out of the packet now. I'd be a bit miffed if that turns out it's faulty. But like I said, with that pin being bent, we could have damaged. I'll leave it out the side of the case like that. With that pin being bent, I wonder if it's done any damage to the card. Let's just try that. Just see if that makes any difference. Nope. Again, it's not. No, that's just with the other. All I've done is plug in the other compact flash adapter, exactly the same compact flash card. So I don't think that's the issue. It looks like we could have killed this compact flash card maybe with that pin. Put everything back in. I suppose what we could do is try using, well, I suppose what we could do is boot off the USB stick and use the hard drive software and see if we can actually recognise the card. That might be the way to go. Actually, we've obviously got something amiss. We'll plug the LEDs back in. Put the computer back down, and what we'll do is we'll boot off Workbench off my memory stick here. We'll stick that in. We'll reboot the Amiga. I think that should start off. Yeah, that's starting on Workbench. And we'll just see if the software can. That is going to boot into it. Yeah, yes. Oh, hang on. Well, why is the floppy drive light not working? Have we not plugged it in quite right? The hard drive, the power light's working, but the floppy drive light's not working for some bizarre reason. Me no know. Right, okay, let's go over to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I think is the disc with the hard drive utils on it. Let's see. Yeah, that's HD tools. For some reason the floppy drive lights stopped working, so we'll have to investigate that. Let's get HD tools up. Oh, we don't want to run that here. I remember from last time what I want to do is drop that into the RAM disk. Cancel that. Get rid of that. What I want to do instead of running it is just drop it into the RAM disk. And now we've got 2 megs of RAM on this 600. There's plenty of room for it on the RAM disk. I don't know why my floppy drive light on the keyboard stopped working though. Alright, we should have that. Yeah, there. That's now in the RAM disk, so we can go back to the workbench disk. And then we can run that from the RAM disk. Right, so it's setup drive. Let's have a look. See, it's not finding it as the, oh, how big is it? So it's found something there. That's not correct. So if we go to partition drive, it can't even tell us how big it is. 232 megabytes, and it's a 500 megabyte card. So this is what it was doing when I was originally messing about with getting the hard drive to work. See, it won't format at that or anything. It says it can format it when you try and format it. Format failed. So it's something definitely. I wonder if that card has just died. Then I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm just going to. Otherwise, the video is going to be far too long. Excuse me. I'm just going to pause the video and I'll just try putting the other card in and see if we can partition and format that one. So it could be that when them 2 pins got shorted on the compact flash adapter, it's actually fried that card. Anyway, we'll come back to this once I've put that other card in. So back in a sec. Okay chaps, sorry about that. As you can see, we are actually up and running. What I'll do, I'll just switch the Amiga off and let you watch it boot up, and then I'll tell you what issues I've had. There is nothing wrong with the card, fortunately. We'll switch off and back on. You'll see we've got one flash off the little card there. I don't know if you noticed that, but you can see the light on the compact flash is flashing there. And there we are, workbench has come right up. What was wrong? Right, I suppose it's a lesson of buying cheap compact flash adapters. When I come to take this card out to basically when I come to take the card out to try swapping it over, I noticed that this whole side, as I pulled the card out, this whole side of the connector there lifted up, and what had actually happened is the solder on that part of the connector there had actually broken loose. So what I did is, anyway, I whipped it over onto the bench and I resoldered both sides of the compact flash adapter. and then just drag soldered down the connector down there as well, just to be on the safe side. I don't know if you can spot. Can I get in any? I don't think I can get in any closer. Oh yeah, there we go. So basically, like I said, I resoldered there where that little blob of solder is, and I reinforced the one on the other side. That hadn't failed, just that one. And I reflowed the solder down the actual compact flash adapter there. Plugged it all back in, and as you can see, oops, I'm not using my standard tripod here. This is actually a camera tripod rather than a video camera tripod. It's a little bit difficult to get you on screen, but as we can see up there, I'll switch that off. The hard drive is working. We'll click on it, loads up. We've got, oops, Sierra. We've got Leisure Suit Larry on here. Yeah, I have. And this should load from the hard drive. Hopefully this will load up in a second. So yeah, I mean, these are alright. These are alright at £4, but the soldering leaves a lot to be desired on them. That's the first time I, touched it, really tried using it, and the corner snapped straight off. So I think what I'm going to do, this one's very similar. I don't know if you can make that out. There's only a tiny little bit of solder on them two connections there, so I'll probably just whip that over onto the bench and reinforce that. As we can see, Leisure Suit Larry's loaded up, and that's loading off hard disk. Which is a lot more convenient for a game like this because it's a 4 or a 5 discer, isn't it? So it's much better having it loading off the hard drive. This is only one of the problems with this game. This is how old are you? And it gives you some questions to answer that, like, say, 16 to 18-year-old would know. The problem is this game was wrote in, what was it? Was it 88 or 89, somewhere around that time? So some of the questions that they actually give you are, even for me, a little on the old school side. Johnny Carlson is, I think he's a singer. Or is he an actor? I think he's a singer. He could be an actor though. I'll have to put the keyboard back down. There we go. Let's try A. Nope, it wasn't. VCR stands for video cassette recorder, obviously. The East Coast is home of the Mets, a country where people talk from adjacent to Texas. I'm not very well up on America, I must admit. I wonder if it's home of the Mets. Yeah. Right, I've got to get this one right or else it kicks me out. Piazza is sexy, singer, short, all of the above. Let's put D. There we go, it's actually let us into the game. But we don't have to worry about that because it's a cracked version, this. I don't know. Oh, and it kicked us out. Oh well, never mind. I wasn't really wanting to play the game. I was just having a little bit of a... Just having a little bit of a play about, show you that the hard drive is actually working. 1% full. We've got 483 megabytes free, so we've got plenty of room on this thing. All I've got to do now is sort out the faulty... all I've got to do now is sort out, get you out, the faulty floppy drive light there. And I've took the board out. And all it is, as we can see here, that come off as I was doing it, but basically it's just the light, the wires broken off. So I'm just going to quickly solder that back. I won't bother showing you that, it's only soldering 2 wires on. And we'll just have a final quick look at the computer when that's done, so back in a sec. Okay, we're all finally set back up, so we've got the LEDs resoldered back in. It was only those 2 wires, so let's have a final test, see if it all boots up onto its hard drive and all the lights work. So let's give it a try. Right, power lights on. Should go to disk drive and then disk drive light, and then hopefully the hard drive light should light. There we go, it's booting from the hard drive. Checks the disk drive light again, and hopefully it should boot straight up into the there we go, so that's booting from hard drive. Thank God for that after all this. That's been a right trial to get working properly. You know, down from the original SD adapter to going iffy, to us having a dent pin on the new one, to us having bad solder joints on the new one we've had to touch up, but we've got there in the end. It is actually working, because I can actually boot into the hard drive at last. Yeah, that seems to be working. That seems to be working fine, and I'm quite pleased with this little setup. I've had to reduce my monitor size mainly because I've now got that LC set up there next to it, because I want to have a bit of a play with that Macintosh, because obviously we're playing with the Mac Classic as well at the moment. It would be nice, just handy to have that other working Mac set up there while we play with the Mac Classic. But like I said, today's video was just to say, finally put it to rest that we've got the Amiga 600 how I want it. The only thing I'm still considering whether or not to do is to fit a boot ROM switcher to it, so we can have Kickstart 1.3 or the Kickstart 2. Is it 2.4 this is running now? 2.2 or something like that anyway. I mean, that's no good really for the hard drive, for use of the hard drive. It's just a few games, and I do mean a very few games I've got which need the old Kickstart. I do have a Kickstart boot disc which you can put in, and that boots it into. I mean, for the number of games I've got, I honestly don't know whether it's going to be worth putting a 1.3 Kickstart switcher in this at all, really. I've got very few disc-based games which require the old 1.3 or 1.2 Kickstart. It's probably so few that for the few I've got, I can just boot off the 1.3 booter disc I've got. Like I said, which just gives you you put that disc in with the standard boot screen, and it just reboots with the old 1.3 boot screen, and then you can load your games from there. I've never found anything it doesn't work with, to be honest. They say there's some software it doesn't work with, but I've never found anything. And for perhaps 2, 3, 4 games, is it worth going to the expense of actually putting a switcher in here? I should have just do it for the sake of it. So this is like the most, apart from accelerators and stuff, it's a fairly blinged out 600. It's got, you know, decent size hard drive, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's a decent size hard drive. It's got the 2 meg of RAM in there. It's even got a real-time clock in it now. It happily boots into its workbench. For the games I want to play on it, it's absolutely fine. We'll probably carry on playing with the the scan converters with it. This monitor, this doesn't even have a VGA input on it, it's just SCART and RGB only, sorry, SCART and composite only, but and it's not a brilliant image. I've noticed all this banding. That's nothing to do with the Amiga whatsoever. I think there's some caps need doing in that screen. This is a very early LCD, Sony LCD. That a friend of mine gave me 3 of them. That one, the one up from this bigger, and the biggest one they did at the time. But all of them have this issue, and I think it's all down to slightly failing capacitors in them. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. This was literally meant to be a 5-minute video to say, look, my compact flash to IDE, new compact flash to IDE adapters arrived. Come on, let's put it in and watch the computer boot up to its hard drive. But no, it can't be that, can it? We've got to have made like a 40-minute, 30-minute video out of it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this little ramble. So next video is going to be on recapping the Classic, the Mac Classic. I have had a package of surface mount capacitors come in the mail, so that's going to be the next video, I think. So hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.